December 5th, 2023. It is 7 p.m. We're going to have a moment of silence for our invocation, and then I'll call upon Commissioner Reynolds to lead us in the pledge. Would you please stand for a moment of silence in the pledge led by Commissioner Reynolds? Commissioner Reynolds?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is roll call. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris. Here. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Here.
Okay.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present. Why is this not?
And Vice Mayor Sophia. Here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for attending our meeting tonight. I'd like to call upon Pat Carr to come forward for a proclamation. Thank you once again for being here, Pat. I'll read the proclamation, and then if you could give us some words of wisdom and advice. Whereas motor vehicle crashes involving alcohol with at least one driver with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 grams per deciliter or above still account for approximately a third of all motor vehicle traffic fatalities in 2023 and injure hundreds of thousands every year in the United States. And whereas the Christmas and New Year's holiday periods from mid-December through January 1st are traditionally one of the most deadly times of the year for alcohol-impaired driving. And whereas in 2021, one person was killed every 39 minutes in a drunk driving crash as compared to every 52 minutes in 2019. In the United States, there are 13,384 persons killed in drunk driving crashes in the United States that year. And whereas drivers must remember that driving impaired by any substance, drugs, legal or illegal, or alcohol, is illegal and potentially deadly for themselves, passengers, and other road users. And whereas based on the December 2021 crash figures, male drivers were almost 4 times more likely to be involved in a fatal crash involving alcohol than female drivers. And drivers aged 21 to 34 accounted for the highest percentage, 27, of alcohol-impaired fatalities that month. Excuse me. And whereas organizations across the nation are joining together to promote holiday season national enforcement mobilization to remove impaired drivers from the roadway under the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over National Public Awareness Campaign during the December 15th through January 1st, 2024 time period. Therefore, on behalf of the citizens of the City of Battle Creek, we do hereby proclaim December 23rd, 2023 as Holiday Season National Enforcement Mobilization Month, and further recognize December 15th, 2023 as January 1, 2024 as Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over Enforcement Awareness Campaign in Battle Creek, and call upon everyone to promote awareness of impaired driving problem to encourage a healthier behavior regarding the use of drugs and alcohol, and to support the awareness campaign this holiday season. Pat, I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention again this year. We appreciate the number of years that you've done this, and if you'd like to just say a few words for us and to us so that we can all rally around and support this cause.
We at the Battle Creek Area Transportation Study appreciate the city once again recognizing this time period of the year. I think the number of folks killed, when you break that down by how many every few minutes, is just very frightening. And so we all need to be very aware this time of year, especially to make sure we're making good choices and that we help our family and friends to do the same. Yes, we've been doing this for a long time. I can let you know that this will be the last time that I will be up here accepting this resolution from you, as I am retiring from BCATS at the end of this year after over 39 years at BCATS. So I've been here a lot of years doing this.
Thank you very much. All right. Pat, thank you and good luck on your next endeavor. Yep. Thank you.
One more. This is the one from the other. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, fine. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on our agenda is petition, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This public hearing is for the purpose of reviewing and receiving public comment on the Parks and Recreation Department's 2024-2028 master plan.
Declare the public hearing open. Are there any comments on our master plan? Yes, Kathy Antea. Kathy, I got to be honest with you, I didn't think anyone would speak on this. But thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor. Kathy Antea, Park Ridge Drive, Battle Creek. I actually went and reviewed the master plan when they had a kind of semi-mini open house over at, you know, over there. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the place. My bad. And it is a robust document. Holy smokes, they really collected a lot of information, a lot of data, and there's a whole bunch of comments from residents in there, and I think that's really appreciative. And the one thing that I really want to say is I really would like to see the Parks and Recreation master plan really focus on the individual neighborhood parks, because I think that's really where you hit our residents at, right? It's great to have a park that your kids can go to, but you're not going to send your kid all the way across town. So there are lots of smaller pocket parks, and I am fortunate to live right behind Fell Park, which is just unbelievably phenomenal. And I would encourage the city to continue to make sure that all of their plans include individual neighborhood parks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other public comments at this time? Hearing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the introduction of ordinance 2023, proposed ordinance 2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
While researching background information related to transit matters, it became evident that Chapter 244 of our ordinances needed updating. It refers to two city departments as divisions and the individuals in charge of those departments as managers. This has not been the organization or the leadership structure of transportation in the city for a number of years. The airport is now referred to as the Aviation Department with its own director, and transit is now referred to as the Public Transit Department with its own director. These amendments will properly reflect the current structure and organization of these city departments. This proposed ordinance, number 20-2023, would amend Chapter 244, Department of Transportation, by making changes to reflect the current organization and titles of the aviation and public transit departments in the city.
Move to introduce proposed ordinance 20-2023.
Support?
Who moved and supported to introduce ordinance 2020-2023? Are there any public comments about this? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, are there commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on the proposed ordinance introduction 2023?
Commissioner Reynolds? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Thank you.
The introduction has been approved. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolutions you are speaking to. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, are there any commission comments regarding meeting business?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Is there any comments by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 305. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This is the third of 4 resolutions to implement special assessments for the 2024 Dickman Road Business Improvement District project. This proposed resolution would schedule a public hearing for December 19, 2023 at 7 p.m. for the proposed Dickman Road Business Improvement District Special Assessment Roll number I-024.
Move to approve Resolution 305.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 305. Are any comments by the commission? Clarifications needed? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 305? Resolution 305 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand, and we will acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Kathy? All right, thank you. David?
I was here tonight for both of the meetings, and the workshop too. And it's like I said, been right along. Maybe you may not be running for an office, or you may not be running on a board. You still should get down there and get involved. You said there may be classes you can go to and learn about these committees and things like that. And coming down here just show that you care and that you're interested in it. There might be some means on this first workshop on this. I listened to it tonight, got a little education on it a little bit. I'd like to know a lot more about it, of course. And they're going to try and offer some classes. You've got to have a class and be qualified for being on the board on this issue we had here on the last meeting. It's just maybe you're not, like I said before, you may not be on the board, but come on down to the meetings and try. People, you gotta get involved and get in what's going on down here. You may not be the commissioner, you may not be on top of the thing, but you gotta get down here and learn what the state commission is doing in these board meetings and who these board people are. You should make yourself be involved. This is your city and this is your home. Get involved with it.
Thank you, David. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Christina Smith, 75 Keith Drive. I'm here again to talk about public transit. I've said it before, bad transit doesn't hurt anyone except those who need it. And the things I've heard in the past 2 weeks are about a person, a male, who had a job for 15 years and he lost it because he couldn't get to work. I've heard about 2 people who are paying $40 a day to get to work and back, And I'm thinking they're making a lot of money, or if they're making $15 an hour, a third of that daily wage is going to their travel. There's 2 people that we know of that have lost their homes, their apartments, because they lost their jobs because they couldn't get to work. And so they've joined the homeless population. That really worries me. It's getting cold. There's a woman who visits clients for her work for a local agency, and she uses public transit to get there. She's afraid her job's going to get cut because she's now seeing a quarter of the number of people that she used to see because she can't get there efficiently on public transit. A woman got on the bus, the 9:45 bus into town, expecting to get on the Emmett bus for an 11:30 appointment, and found out that the next Emmett bus wasn't till 1:15. So she missed that medical appointment. 2 people have said no one cares. No one cares about us. And there was an older woman who told me she used to take care of all her errands in one day, and now it takes her 2, 3, or 4 days using public transit. The details of that are kind of lost in the telling, but I can tell you, I had a medical transit scheduled to get to the Bronson Hospital to get an MRI. Hospital called me the morning of the appointment, canceled because their machine broke. So I canceled my medical transport. They rescheduled with me, but the medical transport couldn't help me get there because it wasn't 3 business days ahead to schedule it. And that was true also of BC Go. They were 2 weeks booked out, and Teletransit. So I asked the day sleeper who lives across the street from me if she could help me, and she worked it into her plans before she went to sleep that day. So I got to the appointment. The MRI did not go well for me. I was in tears when I left the room, and I had to walk home. So none of the preceding was the transit's fault, except I couldn't get home and I couldn't get to the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Is there any other public comment at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Autumn Smith. I'm speaking in regards to an issue. I addressed it with Mr. Bagley, the police chief, a minute ago. I'm concerned because there was an issue that happened in our community a little over, I believe it was a year ago, and it had to do with an elected public official and a possible crime that was committed. You may have seen in the Battle Creek Enquirer, they reported vaguely on it, but they left this person's name out. So I'm here to put this on the record. Publicly, Jim Hadsma has an office here in town in Oak Ridge office complex. He was at an event in the next community over when a sexual assault took place. The woman reported it to many people. Jim Hadsma was one of them. He took her to his office to, quote, mediate the alleged crime that happened. Spoke to the police chief, kind of came to the same conclusion. How do you mediate a reported crime? Don't know. The Detroit Free Press, or the Detroit News reported recently that Dana Nestle's office got involved. John Bird, who's also local to this community and has been very involved with unions and the Democrat Party and other events and so on and so forth, KCC board and all that stuff. He's been sentenced to, he took a plea deal and supposedly he's going to be facing 90 days in jail. However, I do feel that this needs to be investigated because if people feel comfortable enough to come to a public official, it could be you one of these days that somebody could report something to. And they need to know and have trust and confidence that when they're reporting, especially something as personal as a sexual assault, that that public official is going to do more than, quote, mediate. I do know that there is a felony on a federal level. It's called misprision of a felony, 18 U.S.C. 4. That means if you are made aware of a possible criminal activity and you fail to report it up and do your job, you yourself are guilty of a crime. That's on the federal level. On the state level, it falls under, I believe it is MCL 750293, I believe, don't quote me. And I spoke to the police chief, and it may need to be investigated through the House of Legislature, but it also needs to be investigated locally to find out if that crime was committed, and those involved need to be held accountable. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Jerry Steiner, please.
My name is Jerry Steiner. I live at 115 South 26th Street. I'd like to wish everybody in here happy holidays. I really don't know where to start, y'all. You know how I feel about the bus situation. It's been a fiasco since you raised the bus prices 40%. Ain't nothing, well, look here. I want to move on to something else. When I come into this chamber, sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, you know? I mean, with everything going on in the world, and everybody seems to think that all they got to do is lay back and everything gonna be all right. As a messenger, I'm here to tell you, everything ain't gonna be all right. But in the interim, I tried to find some kind of common ground as to how we got here, you know? And as you know, I'm a student of history, and history says that what we're going through right now was inevitable. But what bothers me more than anything is that some of our legislatures, some of our leaders, them people that raised their hand and swore to protect and serve, they address the problem like it's, you can put a Band-Aid on it and everything will be all right. It's reminiscent of the compromise of 1877. I know y'all done read it on it because I done brought it in here 2 or 3 times. But what bothered me about the compromise of 1877 is that when the Democrats and the Republicans got together, just like we all get together, one vote decided the fate of my ancestors. Now I'm saying, tell everybody, don't believe what I say, look it up. I had to wait to be a grown man to find out that Lincoln put in a program called Reconstruction so my ancestors would have a decent chance at a real life in America. You can't get past the fact that America's manifesto is really a piece of fiction, really. All men can't be created equal, you know, because they butchered the Indians, you know, kept my people in slavery for over 200 years. Come on down, disenfranchised the women. The women even had to raise up. What I'm telling y'all is, and I'm gonna tell you every time I get a chance, Grandmama said everybody, no matter who you are, got to pay the piper. Now, I know from time to time, you know, people say, well, we'll get through it, and I sure hope we do, because we don't get through without God. You know what they say now? Jesus said, what did he say in Matthew? Many are called, but few are chosen. And evidently, some of y'all have been chosen. Got to get out of here, y'all. Holla.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. Are there any other public comments at this time? John?
If Commissioner Sophia can do this at a commission meeting, so can I. 'Twas the month before Christmas, and all through the store, each department was dripping with all Yuletide decor. The music was playing an out-of-tune carol, and fake snow was falling on ladies' apparel. I'd flown many miles from the North Pole this day to check on reports which had caused me dismay. I come to this store but for one special reason, to see for myself what went on this season. I hid in a corner, and in a short while, I saw the store president march down an aisle. He shouted an order, turned the store tree on, and also the knoll in blinking pink neon. Up grandly hanging from twin gold supports, 400 pink angels flew over men's shorts. And towering over the rear mezzanine was a 90-foot day-glow nativity scene. The clock on the wall said 2 minutes to 9. The floor walkers all stood in a line. I watched as the store president smelled their carnations and shouted a final command, "Man your stations." When out of the street there arose such a roar, it rang through the rafters and boomed through the store. It sounded exactly like street repair drilling, or maybe another big mafia killing. I turned to the doors, and there, banging the glass, was a clamoring, shrieking, hysterical mass. And I felt from the tone of each scream and each curse, the spirit of Christmas had changed for the worse. The clock had struck 9, and the doors opened wide, and the great human avalanche thundered inside. More fearsome than Sherman attacking Atlanta came mothers and kiddies with just one gold Santa. In front stormed the mothers, all blandishing handbags, as heavy and deadly as 20-pound sandbags. With gusto they swung them to better to smash ears of innocent floor walkers, buyers, and cashiers. Straight up to the 5th floor the mob penetrated and would soon reach the room where the store Santa waited. I followed them closely the better to see this bearded imposter who dared to play me. He was 6'3" and weighed all of 130. He'd lost half his teeth and his costume was dirty. His beard dangled down like a wad of cheap cotton. His breath needed scope and his ho-ho was rotten. Pushed on by the parents, the kids had one aim, to get to this man who was using my name. They begged him and mauled him to better to plead for the presents they sought in their hour of greed. The store president watched with a gleam in his eye as he thought of the presents the parents would buy. Of all Christmas come-ons, this crowd would attest that a visit from Santa was clearly the best. It was all too much for my soul to condone, so I let out a most unprofessional moan. The crowd turned around, and I'll say for their sake that they knew in an instant I wasn't a fake. Can I continue? I'm almost finished.
John, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Seeing no additional public comments, any comments by the commission? Thank you very much. We'll adjourn the meeting. Have a good night.